Home price declines are happening all over the United States, meaning that for the first time in nearly 5 years, home buyers can negotiate deals again. Now, this is really due to three main reasons. Number one, mortgage rates have climbed to a 50-year running average, which is about 7% for a fixed-rate 30-year mortgage. Yet home prices are still priced for mortgages that were around 3% from 2020 through the spring of 2022. Sellers really profited in this time as home prices shot up big time because Americans buy monthly payments and don't really care much about the price until now. The second reason is that home buyers are fatigued. Many have accumulated lots of debt, and now they're trying to pay off those high-interest credit cards while still figuring out how to maintain their new lifestyle as prices are higher on just about everything. And also, with the current prices for homes, should they not come down, renting a home is much less than a mortgage payment would be. Now, this is because renters don't really need to pay the rising homeowners insurance bills or property taxes, and they get to live without worrying about something breaking, not needing to fix or replace anything. It's not a bad deal for now. This rent overbuying advantage has caused a massive drop-off in home buyer demand, resulting in the worst sales since the great financial crisis of 2008. In other words, there are now more sellers than buyers. And last but not least, real estate investors have completely dropped out of the race for single-family homes. Today's home prices don't work for them either. Why would an investor pay these current prices for homes to lose money in a declining rent and rising cost environment? After all, investors buy single-family rentals for passive income, not for passive losses. Smart house flippers, well, they aren't buying these high-priced homes either. It's too risky for the flippers to lay down the cash in hopes that enough buyer demand in a few months after the repairs would bring them a profit or risk them losing a bunch of money. And I told you all in 2022 that the housing market was in a bubble and that this would eventually burst. Well, I'm not a genius, guys, or a prophet. I'm just a realist that understands that the numbers just don't work for the working class society. You can't have a median-priced home priced at 5x or more the median household income. It just doesn't work for buyers. And when you consider the other high cost of ownership, let alone the high cost of repairs and maintenance today, again, the affordability just doesn't work. People that have purchased homes since 2021 can definitely attest to this, and many of them are house poor and can't afford much else. So what now? Well, we're seeing houses sitting on the market longer, and a large percentage of the homes for sale have had at least one price drop. And if you watched my last video, you know that Florida is having the most price corrections, but many markets are following with major price drops for those sellers who must sell now. Areas with home sales that have had price drops are repricing the subdivisions. These new comparable sales will affect the entire community, causing lower home appraisals for anyone financing their home. Now, today I want to show you what's happening in the Northeast because many of the real estate agents have commented or sent me emails that are saying that, you know what, we're not seeing it in the Northeast. And they've been touting that these price drops simply won't happen here. But let's take a look. And just for clarity, when you hear people talk about the Northeast, what they're usually talking about are the states of Connecticut, Maine, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, Vermont, New Jersey, New York, and Pennsylvania. So we're going to review what the data is telling us, and to do that, we're going to turn to Zillow. Now, I'm not saying that Zillow is the absolute gospel. However, like them or not, they have the most data. Now, obviously, we're looking at the data for the entire state. It would take a very long time to break down each community or subdivision to determine what's really going on. But what we're really looking at is the overall picture, the trend of that state. And it's sending an indication that we need to continue to watch. So let's start with Connecticut. Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying the show so far. I just wanted to take a brief minute and share some exciting news. I have just released my new Todd Simple home buying course. This course is designed for anyone wanting to know how to buy a home. It's 14 lessons, includes worksheets and resource guides. It's designed to take you through the entire home buying process from start to finish. You'll learn how to represent yourself should you want to avoid paying real estate commissions, the best ways to shop for a home, how to avoid costly mistakes, what to look for when touring a home, negotiation tactics, and so much more. If you've followed me here on YouTube, you know that I am very transparent in my videos. In this home buying course, I hold nothing back. In fact, I would go to say that no one has uncovered the home buying process like I have. I'd even recommend this course to most real estate agents, as they will probably learn more about the home buying process than any other training that they've received. I've even made a way for you to gift this course to your family and friends. Visit saxrealty.education. The link is also pinned in the comments below. And for a limited time, I'm offering a 10% discount on Todd's Simple Home Buying course. Just enter the coupon code Todd when checking out. Now back to the show. Now, what we're looking at here, I have selected, and by the way, all of these links are in the show notes below if you want to check out the state, maybe that you're looking to buy in. But we're looking at the 5-year view. And this is the pricing trend line. As we go through, I'll just kind of tell you what we're looking at on this slide, and then we'll just quickly go through the other states. But you can see in 2020, these really high peaks. So it went up, kind of plateaued, spiked again. And now what we're really looking at is really from this point of around the third quarter of 24 to now, we're really starting to see that trend line flatten out. Now, currently, as of May, the end of May 31st, there were 6,557 homes, single-family homes for sale. 3,567 were new listings, and it's kind of funky to look at this, but the median sales price in April 30th of 2025 is much lower than the median list price of May 31st of 2025. Now, what I want you to focus on is that the month prior sales, April 30th, was much lower than the median list price, okay? So what that tells me is that the sellers are not getting what the price is in May. We won't see that data until June or July. The end of June or July, it won't show up. And the reason being is because when a house goes under contract, it takes 30 to 45 days for it to close. So there is no disclosure of what the seller has taken for that home. And the reason for this, when an agent puts the information in the MLS, the multiple listing service that the agents use, what we pay for, we only put that it's under contract or pending. We don't enter what the price is that the seller has accepted. Should something happen that it fall apart, well, then we've told the rest of the world what the seller is willing to take. And it's especially if it's lower than the list price, it makes the seller vulnerable. So we're not getting this accurate data until after it closes. So that's why we're looking at backward-looking data in the housing market. But still, these trend lines are telling me it's weakening, it's softening in Connecticut. And another important factor we'll look at, and this seems to be pretty true as a national average, about a third, and in this case, 32.2% of the sales were under the actual list price. That in itself can also be a little bit of a game, because nowadays, when we're not seeing as many buyers, smart agents are lowering the prices on the homes with their seller's permission, obviously, to still get some type of a bidding war. So they may drop the price $25,000 or $30,000 from where the seller wants or where they think it should be. And what that does is gets the excitement going, and the buyers, and they end up bidding it up. And then technically it would be over list price again. So I do believe that a lot of this 56.3% probably falls in that category. The other thing to look at is we're talking about an area where, and even across the country, homes were selling in hours, not days, but still Connecticut's holding pretty firm, strong with a 7% median days to pending. So we'll move on now to Maine. And again, we're going to kind of roll through this again. 5 years, 4,629 active inventory, the end of May. And look, again, we are way below May's median list price for April's sales that closed in May. We know that now. Still, and if people had this information, by the way, if they knew what the sellers accepted the month prior, and April's a pretty hot month in the real estate market historically, they probably are now changing what they want to offer on homes today. But again, this is a really important metric here. In Maine, 52.5% of the sales were under the asking price or list price. We rose here, Maine slightly higher, 11 median days to pending, meaning under contract. And then we'll keep moving along here, Massachusetts. And this was really kind of shocking to me. 5 years again, we have a lot of inventory on the market, but look at this, from the 722,933, the median sale price to list price, big difference, right? So obviously, I don't know what these sellers are thinking right now, but April sales told us that it's nowhere near what they're listing for today. 39.3% of sales under list price. Before we go away on Massachusetts, another important thing to look at here is look at this line, guys. Look at this flattening of this line. So from really, again, August through the end of May, we're really seeing Massachusetts flatten out. New Hampshire, same thing. We can focus on that. They're pretty much flat on their pricing from the beginning of the year. 2985 for sale inventory, 36.4% under list price. Again, you can see the big difference on what the sale price was to the median list price. Rhode Island, again, we're seeing a major flattening out of the prices. 38.7% of sales under lists were 10 days, median days to pending. And again, you can see we're about $70,000 less from the prior month in median sale price to median list price. Check this out. So here's one for Vermont. We're seeing a major price decline here from about the beginning of the year through now. 59.4% in Vermont is experiencing sales under list price, 11 days, median days to pending. And again, you can see here, wow, big difference, about 110,000 in price from median sales price to median list price. New Jersey seems to be one of the states that I have been watching that seems like it's still doing relatively well, though it still is 36, almost 35% under list price, the sales, but you can still see they're on a trajectory that still seems to be rising. Despite it, it'd be interesting to see next month's numbers because 480 was the median sale price in April, and now they want 548 in May. New York is always an anomaly to me. It's funny because when we hit the pandemic, New York was like, they were migrating away from New York at extreme rates. But now it seems like after they experienced the dip in 2023, they have been on an upward trajectory ever since. Now, I think a lot of this, though these numbers are still showing that the sellers aren't getting what they wanted. If we look at around the 760 something price range, the median sales have been going up, and but the big number here is that the shock is really hitting the sellers. We're still seeing prices rise, but 68.5% of these sellers have taken some kind of a cut. From what I've heard, a lot of people are moving back to New York. A lot of people moved to Florida, and then they realized for whatever reason, they didn't like the heat maybe. Maybe they didn't like the politics. Maybe they weren't welcomed like they thought they would be. Who knows? But from what I understand, a lot of people are moving back to New York. And then finally, we'll look at Pennsylvania. Now, Pennsylvania is kind of unique in its way because it's still considered the Northeast, but they really talk about that Philadelphia corridor. So I didn't break it down to just Philly. I kept it as the state because we have a lot of viewers that are from Pennsylvania. And so I wanted to let you know what was going on here. We are still seeing a pretty flattening out of the current price of a home, median price. Big inventory here, almost 30,000 houses are active for sale at the end of May. And then they're really close in numbers between the median sale and median list price. Now, one of the reasons why, I mean, you did see that there was a flattening out here from the 22 to 23. So maybe this indicates a lot of people that live in Pennsylvania are financing. We saw a lot of this a lot of cash buyers when interest rates, mortgage rates started to spike. But this does tell a big story that probably a lot of people are financing, but we are seeing some kind of a upward trend still here, a very narrow median sales to median list price. However, it still says that 47.5% of sales are occurring under list. And then finally, I just wanted to show you guys what it's like in Florida, because I wanted to contrast. We're not seeing the Northeast quite as bad in price reductions, home price reductions, as we're seeing in Florida. And a lot of this is because Florida, we saw the most domestic migration, and now we're seeing them move out. A lot of people leave Florida for a lot of different reasons: hurricanes, high insurance costs, high property taxes. Prices have really skyrocketed, and this is priced even Floridians, people that have lived in Florida for a very long time. It's just priced them out of the market. So we have seen through brokers and agents conversations about the market in Florida, and also from our own emails and calls that come in where people are saying, hey, I'm moving out of Florida and I'm moving to another state, and because the prices are too high. But that's really showing us they started having trouble back in 22. Here we are in 2025. They had a little bit of a rebound. And then, as they typically do as we're going into fall, because a lot of the snowbirds or people are like, you know what, I got to get out of the cold weather, get to the warm weather. But we have really seen a pretty flat activity from here to here over a couple year span. So what this shows us is that, and by the way, 74.2% have taken prices, accepted offers less than list price, 45 median days to pending, 210,514 active listings. But what this shows us is that real estate is a backward looking model, right? We're always looking back, but now we're starting to see, even in the Northeast, where the market's softening. We're no longer seeing those high spikes in price appreciation. And what you have to be careful with if you're buying a home today is you have to not just look at these numbers, but you have to look at what's pending. And when they close, that's what gives you this upward or downward or flat trajectory. You have to know that it is weakening and that it is softening, and you have to be prepared for that, because you could be overpaying right now if you decided to buy a home today. I'm not telling you not to buy, but what I'm telling you is that you need to pay attention to the data and to the numbers, not to the real estate agents that are, maybe they are having a great year. Maybe they are pricing things to where they're getting over list price. But you have to really dive deeper into the story. You can't take someone who is incentivized by making a sale and, in most cases, a commission check as to you should buy now. You really need to examine the data and watch the market. If I were buying a house today or in the market to buy a house today, if it were me, I would probably give it another couple months. I would want to see where these trend lines are going. If you can negotiate from list price, a price that you're happy with and you can afford the payment, go ahead and make the deal. But if I were on that border and wanting to see a little bit more information on home prices, I'd probably, give it another couple months. So hope you enjoyed the show, and you can let me know your comments and thoughts below. If you're an agent, I'm sure you definitely will, as I'm telling people that don't need to buy to hang on just a little bit longer, in my own professional opinion. And I'll see you next time. Thanks so much for watching. If you like the video, you can let us know by smashing that thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed to our channel, please consider doing so now. Hit that alert bell. You'll know every time we upload content just like this. Keep those comments and questions coming. And one of the biggest compliments you can do for us all here at Sachs Realty is to share our channel and this video with your family and friends. This will help us to continue to build this amazing online community with viewers just like yourself. See you next time. Sachs Realty, Maryland broker number 607720, office number 443-318-4514, equal housing opportunity.